My name is Chris Spyrow, and I'm with my wife, Flo Spyrow. And I want to thank those who have been with us on our journey for 2.5 years.
Thank you so much for your generosity. I can still remember the day that Andrew, our only child, was diagnosed with glioblastoma, one of the most deadly brain cancers there is. At that time, the most devastating thing about that moment was the lack of hope. There was no hope for a cure. There was no hope for a treatment that would lead to remission. There was only a plan to manage his tumor for a few short months. How could that be? He was only 34 years old, a marathon runner, preparing to go to law school and to marry his beloved wife, Mary.
Well, my name is Sean Lane, and my wife, Lori Lane, was diagnosed with glioblastoma in November of 2020. She gave us a beautiful life, and she had a beautiful life up until she passed away 3 years ago. And when you first hear the diagnosis in the doctor's office or at the hospital, it's like a punch in the gut. That's putting it mildly, because you go in there thinking, oh, she might be sick, and then you say, oh, she might have 15 months to live. And it's at that moment where your body drains of its blood, and you got a million things going through your mind. And I look over at Lori, and I'm seeing someone who went from a vibrant woman to someone who's going to be gone in a year and a half, likely. And what really bothered me throughout this whole thing was, even though she had an amazing spirit, an amazing thing about her, there just really was no hope. Because sadly, in the last 25 plus years, there have been no change in treatment options. And in talking to Dr. Behrens and her neuro-oncologist, there were glimmers of hope about extending life and making sure she's comfortable, but still it doesn't change the fact that she's going to be gone shortly. And so when Chris and Flo and I connected, we kind of put our heads together and tried to figure out, we figured that, TGen and Dr. Behrens was really the glimmering light that we saw there was a possibility to do something different.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Behrens. I'm a professor in the Brain Tumor Unit at TGen, Translational Genomics Research Institute. With a heart full of gratitude for your support, I take a moment to give you an update, apprising you of the progress we've made because of your support. Traditional clinical trials to treat patients with glioblastoma try to answer the question, does this drug work against this tumor? The challenge with that is that we have seen hundreds of clinical trials fail to move forward because there are too few patients who respond. Your support is allowing us to ask a different question, and that specifically is, which glioblastoma patients respond to this drug? Flipping that paradigm allows us now to bundle various drugs in a clinical trial, each drug paired with a molecular signature of vulnerability. We call this a glioblastoma umbrella signature trial. Our hope is that enrolling patients in this trial, molecularly profiling each tumor, will allow us to enroll the patient in the treatment arm where there is the highest likelihood of that new drug benefiting that patient. This will accelerate FDA approval of the drug, and most critically, that will allow drug combinations to be tested to increase survival for these patients. Thank you for your support. We're well on the road to opening this trial, and I couldn't be more excited. Your support allows us to make a difference.
I support TGen because we're looking for solutions, not Band-Aids, and that's what I'm hoping for.
Chris and I are so honored to be able to support this research that was only a dream when Andy was alive, and we are thankful for your support. You honor Andrew and his legacy and his very dear friend, Lori Lane. Thank you.